All right, welcome to TECHOVER, the show that discusses all things technology. My name is Brian Tedetieno, NTV's in-house techie. Today, we'll be speaking about the role of the Young Scientist Kenya, which I will refer to as on the show as YSK. For the longest time, they have been teaching students in high school about tech and how they can take up STEM courses, STEM which is basically science, technology, engineering and mathematics. And there's also an addition lately which is medicine. That and so much more is on this show today. But first off, as always, the tech news of the week.
Digital taxi hailing companies have warned that the 6% significant economic presence SEP tax proposed in the 2024 finance bill will adversely affect customers if passed. Tabling their submissions before the National Assembly Finance and Planning Committee on Wednesday, Uber and Bolt said the SEP tax will increase the amount customers pay for taxis and also stifle the ride-hailing industry. Treasury seeks to impose SEP tax on non-resident firms, targeting income from large multinationals operating in Kenya, even if they do not have a physical presence. Any non-resident entity making money from providing business services through a digital marketplace is liable to pay the levy per the draft law. But Uber, which is American, and the Estonian company Bolt say the new tax will lead to high operating costs. Bolt told Parliament that SEP is similar to the 3% turnover tax the companies pay, terming the new levy unfair to non-resident companies and foreign direct investment. The companies want lawmakers to delete the proposal of a 6% SEP tax and retain the rate of 1.5%. They also want Parliament to do away with Section 19 of the bill, which seeks to amend the Income Tax Act to introduce a withholding tax on payments made on a digital marketplace. The 2024 finance bill is sponsored by Molo MP Kimani Kuria, who also chairs the National Assembly Finance and Planning Committee. SEP tax seeks to replace DST, where resident and non-resident digital service and digital marketplace providers pay a DST of 1.5% of the gross transaction value in addition to a 16% VAT. Last July, Uganda introduced a 5% DST on the gross digital services income received by non-resident providers operating in the country through the 2023 Income Tax Amendment Bill. Both Bolt and Uber are foreign-owned companies with the bulk of the market share in Kenya, as in many countries in Africa. The representatives before the committee cited that the SEP tax was akin to the turnover tax charged at 3%, and it is the same tax responsible for a massive exit of foreign companies in Nigeria. The Finance Bill 2024 also intends to hike the digital service tax from 1.5% to 3% and the corporate tax rate from 30% to 35%. A slew of traditional levies and taxes, such as the motor vehicle tax, will deepen the woes for ride-hailing platforms, who told the committee chaired by Molo MP Kuria Kimani that ride fares will be increased in the process.
Fair enough. Now you are up to speed with what's been happening in the tech world and how it will affect you. I'm now joined by Dr. Victor Mongera, who is the National Director of YSK. Dr. good to see you. Thank you so much for making time for us on NTV Takeover.
Thanks so much, Brian.
Who is Young Scientist Kenya and what do you guys do?
Yes. So actually, Young Scientist was built on a model similar to a Young Scientist program in Ireland. So adapted for Kenya, how that works is we have a STEM competition that has what we call the exhibition in August. So students participate by submitting their abstracts. Once they submit their abstracts, they go through a judging process. Then the top students now are invited to develop those abstracts into projects, which they display at the exhibition. And these are within the science, technology, engineering, mathematics space. And as you said, STEM is actually constantly evolving, involves even medicine, biology, so on. And we actually also have a category in natural and social sciences. So that process of students developing their projects, developing an abstract, going through a judging process, developing their projects, and coming to exhibit, encourages students to take part in all these STEM-related courses. Now, other than that, what we also do is we go to schools. We go to schools in various parts of the country. And we especially focus on what we call marginalized areas, especially the arid and semi-arid areas, the ASALs. We also focus on schools which have more female than male students, of course, girls' schools. And through our Leave No Learner Behind campaign, we try and reach out as much as possible across the country. So when we visit your school, what we are doing is we are showing you that, yes, there's a small pitch of YSK. This is what Young Scientist does, and this is the exhibition. Please participate. But we also bring partners on board. So we bring partners who are doing very interesting things. We also bring mentors on board, some of our previous winners, some mentors are also university students, and we bring them to that outreach program. And so that these young people, as they're learning, it's not just theoretical. It's not just, take on STEM courses. It's actually, this is what is happening in the market, and this is what you can do. So that ecosystem encourages young people towards now participating.
I like it that you are starting at that very early age. What's the importance of starting off with mentoring these young people in STEM courses right from high school?
So it is, I think, Brian, what you brought up, it's very important to start them early. In fact, some STEM courses focus on starting them in primary school.
Yeah.
So we have, yes, right coding and everything. So we are starting at high school because by the time a young person is finishing high school and they're coming to choose their university course or their course at TVET, or even deciding to go the entrepreneurial route, the student has already had 4 years of development in high school. So if we do not reach out at that point and give them all the options available to them, then students work with information that they have to hand, which might not be as expansive as they would like. I like to give the example, because of my background in academia, that whenever we interacted with students coming into university, within the first 2-3 months, you actually consider that a settling period for students, because students had a chance to change courses. Yeah. And you'd be surprised how many students changed courses. And not just, the attrition is high. And in ways you didn't even expect. A parent would come and tell me, no, my student got in to do medicine and now he wants to go do biology. Yeah. How does that make sense? But to the student, it makes sense, because that is what they want to do in their life. Yeah, so the earlier we expose them, the better.
Great. What's the criteria of entry into the YSK programs?
So the qualification is actually very minimal. All a student has to do is they have to be in a group. So we're calling that a team of 2 students, and they have a teacher as a mentor. So when they're looking now to qualify, what they do is they prepare a project abstract, call it an abstract. It has various requirements, and it is aligned with the theme of that particular year. This year, our theme is aligned to climate change because of the ongoing conversation. Yes. So now the students, those 2 students and the teacher come up with a project abstract, and they submit it through our portal. So we try to make the process as seamless as possible, so that the students, all their requirements really is just preparing the documentation, submitting it, and then they go through the judging process, like I mentioned before. And the judges are drawn from a large pool. Like this year, we had over 1,700 project submissions as abstracts. Very large number, you can imagine. So you can see that a lot of people really want to take part. So the judges now have a task, because they have to judge all these projects. And the fact that they're judging them doesn't mean that those which don't make it to the final are poor. It's just that we have a limit on our resources and what we can. Ideally, we would love to have 1,700 student teams coming into Nairobi, but of course we are limited. So they go through the judging process to get now the top 100 projects who will be invited to Nairobi on our cost. We will transport them, house them, even transport the teachers, and make sure that they are comfortable, so that their main task is to bring their projects to Nairobi and to exhibit them to the public.
I understand if you're getting almost 1,700 proposals in one exhibition, that must be intense. In managing over 250 schools that your program is active, that also must be really taking a toll on you. So what's the importance of partnerships in this process?
Yes, as you've said, the partner role is very, very important. So we have various partners who we work with. Of course, the Embassy of Ireland is our core partner, because this was conceived based on how the exhibition works in Ireland, and they come in and support us very, very strongly. We also have partners who give scholarships to the winning students at various levels. I think later you'll be talking with one of these students and they'll be able to expound on that. But Strathmore being one of our strongest partners there. Then we also have partners who also give equipment to the schools who participate. So far we have been to over 250 schools. So we have a footprint of a lot of schools. We know what they're doing on the ground, what are some of the resources they're lacking. And of course, as much as they're grateful, a school will always ask, how else are you able to support in terms of developing STEM? So when we get a partner, for example, Pren Chambai Foundation, they are giving the lab equipment and computers to schools. And we also have partners who give in-kind support in terms of training courses if they're available. And also, we can't forget the partners who give us funding. Being a non-governmental organization, of course, we rely very heavily on funding. And in particular, as we're rolling out towards this exhibition, we tend to work very strongly with partners to be able to build our resources. Like I said, we want ultimately to have 1,700 students in Nairobi. So we're still a ways to go, but we're getting there.
So a student has successfully gone through the program and then they are winning and they've won the final and they are the best that you've come up with. What's the ideal life of a student who is in the YSK program on incubation? Are they given a villa to live in, a Lamborghini or something of the sort? I don't know.
Not quite a villa. But as when we get to the final, maybe it's important to bring out that we have four main categories. We have physics, chemistry, mathematics. We have our tech area for engineering. We have biological and ecological sciences, and we have the natural and social sciences. So each of those categories has a winner and a runner-up. And all those winners and runner-ups receive various prizes. From Young Scientists, we put in cash prizes for each category, of course increasing as you increase higher towards the overall winner. But our partners also really come in very well. Safaricom in the past have worked with partners to bring in devices and so on, airtime. We've had various organizations put in money towards funding various awards. But most important to note, the overall winner of the exhibition, they get, of course, the highest cash prize, the highest prize that is coming from our partners. But we also sponsor them to a flight to Ireland. Yes, like I mentioned, yes, Dublin, Ireland. So like I mentioned, this project was conceived from what they do in Ireland. So we want that student team to go and see ultimately what it looks like, and also they get a chance to network. 16, 17 is never too young to network. They get to go out there, they meet various senior people, and if someone is very, very ambitious, you can find they have really grown their network.
Great. Let's finish off with the future, the immediate future. What plans do you have for this year and the exhibitions that are coming up?
The exhibition this year is going to be in Nairobi, as it typically is. The dates for it are the 19th to 23rd of August. So we're targeting students during the school holiday so that when they participate in this, they don't also miss out on the formal learning that is going on. Like I've said, we're targeting to have over 100 student projects come in. We also our target is also to have 1,000 students coming in virtually, and we'll see how we can support them to do that. But we also want to welcome the public to the exhibition. It's going to be held at the Edge Center, tentative to confirmation, but it's absolutely free and open to the public. So if you as a parent or you as a student are interested, what is this STEM? What are young people doing out there? Or even if you just want a day to see some inspiring stories in education, because I think we don't get enough inspiring stories of how talented our young people are in education. I truly encourage you, just come in. It is absolutely open to the public. You're able to come in, see what the projects are, and especially on our closing day, which will be on the Friday, the 23rd, when we award, is a very, very exciting day, very exciting process. And even you, Brian, you should come in.
For sure, I will. I definitely look forward to coming. Yes. All right, Sasa, thank you so much for making time for us, Dr. Mugera. I really appreciate. I hope now with that interview, you have a fair view of what the Young Scientist Kenya is all about. And I hope that you as a parent who is watching, your child will be inspired and you will support them to take up some of these STEM courses. As well, we'll leave it at for part 1. Part 2 will be back with Startup of the Week. But first off, let's pay some bills. This is TECHOVER. Don't go too far. Welcome back to TECHOVER. This is the show that discusses all things technology. Time now to know our founder this week. Here then is your segment of Startup of the Week in association with Young Scientists Kenya.
As the digital age surges forward, artificial intelligence (AI) is rapidly becoming an undeniable force poised to reshape our world for years to come. Since its inception, the competency-based curriculum has faced major hurdles, especially at the implementation level, due to inadequate trained teachers, lack of resources, and infrastructure.
And one of the things I promised was...
Drawing from his experience in the classroom, Harman Gurwal, a former teacher, identified a critical barrier to student success, which is unequal access to essential resources.
I used to teach at a private school here in Kenya, and while I was teaching at this school, a few of my students were struggling to perform, and I realized the issue was access to resources. So we created a platform just for my students in the school to be able to access legal information, the books they needed, and the performance in the class went up tremendously.
Fueled by his passion for teaching, Harman saw a need to bridge the resource gap and empower learners, especially in public schools and underserved communities. The result, a website housing all CBC textbooks in a readily accessible format.
You have the ebook you need for the subject, and then attached to the page is an AI teacher. So while you're reading the book and you need it to be explained to you, for example, the AI teacher will explain to you any concept. And you can ask a question at any point of the day, as many times as you like. You can have it simplified further, and it will be explained to you by this very advanced software. And it works in English and in Kiswahili.
The Classic platform caters to students from grade 1 all the way to grade 9.
And then the third section we have is for skills. So you can take a course on any skills that, soft skills included, such as how to dress for work, how to do public speaking, how to cook, how to file taxes. And all these books are included in the skills database section. And again, there's an AI attached to that.
Harman and his team's vision goes beyond the virtual classroom. To tackle the challenge of limited infrastructure in rural areas, they're planning to roll out at least 50 smart classrooms built from shipping containers by the end of the year. We were on hand to witness the exciting arrival of the first smart classroom being carefully unloaded at Langata Road Primary School. The head teacher of the school expressed hope that this innovative learning environment will significantly boost student performance.
There are more interests to the schoolwork and also more enrollment. Because when they see this, they'll be happy, they will take the report back home, and we'll have more coming in.
If the government would take the time to understand the scope of this project in trying to provide free education is something we've already done. It just simply needs to be rolled out, promoted, which costs nothing really. And the classrooms also cost less than the average classrooms we're building here in Kenya with all the amenities we've described. If they could spend on these classrooms in some areas rather than the standard brick and mortar ones, we can have actual change coming in Kenya through time. And we've reached the year 2024. I think it's time we change the approaches to education and incorporate next-gen learning.
One of the main concerns surrounding AI in education is its potential to replace teachers altogether.
We just need the teacher there as a guide and then the learners, and that is how the core competencies of CBC, that is communication and collaboration, critical thinking and creativity, self-efficacy, all those things.
They need to remember that the AI is not a teacher, it's a tool, because somebody needs to prompt the AI to teach the kids. No one can ever replace a teacher, and teachers, with the help of the AI, have this tool to help work with the kids better. They can mark 70 papers in 3 seconds. By just putting it in, it gets marked. They have more time to deal with individual students struggling with, specific challenges.
Stakeholders are urging the government to ramp up investment in digital technologies arguing that this is crucial for equipping our nation with the tools needed to compete effectively in a global economy.
And an educated country is always a thriving country. If you look at global statistics, the most educated countries are the ones that are the best performing. And I realized in Kenya, we're doomed to repeat a cycle of this poverty cycle. So if we educate a child in Turkana with this system, you can learn how to become a lawyer. You can even be educated by the best lawyers in the world through this system. And it's the biggest equalizer because it puts that child in Turkana on the same level as someone going to a very expensive international school in Kenya.
All said and done, it goes without saying that artificial classrooms and AI will sooner than later become a mainstay in the education system. The time to learn the ropes on the mode of implementation and equipping the people to do it is now. Other factors like power and internet connectivity notwithstanding. Rukia, Bule, NTV.
Very well, Kenyans never stop amazing me. Let's finish off with the tech tip of the week and then we'll just close the show.
Hi, my name is Duncan, and this week we are going to be covering how you can keep your Instagram account safe and keep your data secure. There have been quite a few cases of Instagram accounts being hacked, so here are some tips on how you can keep yours safe. The first method is go to your Instagram, click on the three icons at the top, click Settings, go to Account Center, click Password and Security, then click Two-Factor Authentication. Click your Instagram account, and then you're going to see three options on how you can turn on Two-Factor Authentication. For example, you can click Text Message, then click Next, and if you have not added a phone number, you can add it right here. And now whenever you try to log into your Instagram account, a code will always be sent to your phone number for you to be able to log in. Another thing is your account might actually be logged into very many devices and you don't know, and this is risky because somebody can access your data. So you can fix this by going to Account Center, go to Password and Security, and then at the bottom you're going to see where you're logged in. Click that, then click your Instagram account, and right here you're going to see all the devices that are logged into your Instagram account. So if you see any that you don't recognize, click on it, and then click Logout and confirm it. And make sure that you only leave the devices that you actually trust. That's it for this week, and see you in the next one.
There goes your DIY. Fair point to leave it at on YSK this week. We've been talking to YSK, and you can find them on social media at YSK_Kenya. If I got that right, yes, on TikTok, and at YSKT Kenya. That is on other social media platforms. My name is Brian Zetetieno, NTV's in-house techie. It's been a pleasure hosting you here. Stay techie and may tech live forever.